Well, it's a bittersweet day here in the shop. I kind of got to the point with this ordeal that I finally realized that it was just going to be an ongoing project forever. It was never going to get done. I was just constantly going to be working on it day after day, night after night, and not really ever finishing it. And it finally just got to me. And so I've decided to quit working on this thing. Um, so there's a lot of good parts on it. And I know if I were to sell it, since it's an incomplete project, I wouldn't get probably hardly anything for it, honestly. But there's a lot of good parts on it. So my plan for now is to not scrap it necessarily, but basically dismantle it. Gonna pull the motor, transmission, transfer case, the axles, and I have a project vehicle, I guess you'd call it, lined up to put those in. I'll try to make more videos. I'll try to be better about this, but I'll bring that up on a later video. But basically it's a bigger vehicle that stuff will fit into a lot better. I won't have to be super wonky with the exhaust. The idea is that I will make projects that are more reasonable, more simple, and then go out and have fun. Basically for the past, I don't know, 2 years, I've kind of come and worked on this thing as I could, just time after time. And when I'm not working on it, I feel like I should be working on it. And it just kind of drug on way too long. And so yeah, that's the idea. Like I said, motor, transfer case, axles, all going into a project, probably the seat into that one too. And then I plan to get an LJ, a TJ Unlimited, kind of lining one of those up also. And I've got the motor and trans that was in this Jeep over here on the floor, the 4-liter with the 5-speed behind it. I plan to put those in the LJ because the LJ does not have a running motor in it right now, the one that I'm looking at getting. So I've got those that'll go in it, and I have the $1,200 Genrite gas tank back there that I've never been able to use in this thing because all the 4-link suspension was in the way and all that jazz. So I've got that could go into it. I also plan to pull all the interior out of this to put into it because I love the tan interior that's in this. Metal cloak fenders will come off of this and go on that one. The hood will come off of this and go on that one. I'm not super picky about colors. The one I'm looking at is a black LJ. This is a green hood, but it does have the vent louver things in it, and I'd like to keep those. So, but the idea again is to keep them simple. The big build with the axles and all is going to be a leaf sprung vehicle. It's an older vehicle, so it's got a lot of space to put like the Holley Terminator electronics up behind the dash, things like that. A lot of space to work underneath for all the exhaust and the axles and all that. There's just space in it. It's a leaf sprung vehicle, so leaf springs are pretty basic, about as basic as you can get with a suspension. So I plan to keep those. One thing that I ran into on this is because of having the 3-link on the front, it has that upper arm, and that upper arm and its frame side mount massively were in the way of trying to run the exhaust on this thing. I got a long way with this project. But it just, there's always something more. Basically, if I was going to give advice to anybody on something like this, make sure you truly want to build something like this, tons, 40s, all that stuff, and make sure you have a really good plan to do it. I started this project and made what I now know are not the best decisions on it. I should have gotten a passenger drop front axle. I got a driver side drop because it was a King Pig 60 out of a military truck that I got for decent price. Had the 14 bolt to match it for the rear. The 14 bolt, I don't know what I would have done different back there. Like I said, that 4-link definitely got in the way of a lot of stuff in the back. The 4-link bracket up on top of the axle doesn't allow the axle to come up as far, and I wanted to keep this lower than it is. It's super tall now. The arms get in the way of trying to run exhaust. Like I said, I've got that super nice fuel cell from Genrite that I've never been able to use because stuff's in the way. Just a lot of things like that. Just make sure you have a plan, make sure you're ready for it. The ORIs, I'm selling those. I'm working on selling those off. They are great. They are awesome for what they are, but they take adjustment, they take tuning, they take all this stuff, and I've just gotten to the point now where I want to, again, just keep it simple. I want to throw a set of coil springs on an LJ and give it a couple inches of lift and throw some 35s on it and get out on the trails and have fun, drive down to the beach, drive out on the sand, have fun. I want to go out and do things, and this vehicle is no longer really able to do that. So, like I said, it's bittersweet. I love this thing. I've had it for, God, I don't even know now. We got it in 08. It's 25, so that's what, 13 years? It was a learning experience for me the whole way through. It's basically what I learned to weld on. I could weld before, but it really was my first project where I did a lot of welding, cutting, fabricating, making stuff on the plasma table, brackets and stuff to put the motor and transmission in. It's been around for a long time, and it's been my project for a long time, and I learned a lot off of it. But it just became a vehicle that I work on it all the time. I literally work on it so much. I took it to Moab, and I took it to the Rubicon, and I took it to Uwharrie, and aside from those 3 trips, I've had it like in a couple parades and driven it around town a handful of miles. It's probably gotten 500 miles put on it in the last 6 or 7 years. And it's just because I can't just hop in it and go. There's constantly something going on. So yeah. Like I said, pulling a lot of parts, using a lot of parts when I do all this stuff. So since we're kind of going through it, I did get the 6.0 in it. It's in there. It does run. It's running off the Holley kit, the Holley Terminator kit. It's got the 4L80 behind it. It's got the Atlas behind that, and like I said, 14 bolt in the rear, 60 front. It's all there. All that's going to be getting pulled out, put in the new project. The ORIs are going, the doors, and of course, like I said, this tan interior. I love this tan interior. I'm gonna get it into the LJ. I just put the double din dash in it with the backup camera. It'll be getting swapped over. Like I said, the PRP seats, I never liked the way these seats fit in here. They were too wide. They marketed them and it seemed to fit in here, but I got their brackets to put them in. They didn't really fit. I had to kind of wonkify them a little bit. Can't even put the handles on here because they hit the doors. These seats are just too wide for a Wrangler, in my opinion. So I still have the center piece for the tan centerpiece for the cup holders and the center console and all that. And up there on the shelf, I have the original seats from this TJ, the green and tan, because it was a Sahara. They're still in great shape, so I'll probably just clean them up, put them in the LJ when I get it. These will go in my other project because it is a full body rig. It will have plenty of room for these. It'll have plenty of room for all these shifters that I now have that don't really fit in here. All all the computer stuff is what I was talking about. All this wiring and the computer and the fuse block, all that will be able to go up under the dash of the new project because, like I said, it's an older vehicle. It's not the CJ. That is another project that I still need to work on. But essentially, this other vehicle kind of has the dash of a CJ, you know, where it's just a flat and just empty up behind it. Plenty of room to put computer stuff and all that. Yeah, so for now what I'm gonna do is this guy, I put the top on it, I'm gonna put the windows and the doors. It is driving, so I'm gonna pull it out and park it out in the yard or something like that. I'm going to get the other scrambler, the other CJ8 scrambler rolling assembly, I guess, in here. In this area, I'm gonna swap what I want off of that other one onto this one, swap pulling the axles and I think it's just the axles, the springs, and the gas tank off of the one out there and putting them on this one. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna swap all that stuff from this one onto the other one, and along with, like, I got a bunch of just random parts I'm gonna bolt onto the body to get it kind of together, and then I'm gonna sell that. Trying to clean up a bit, so I'm selling off stuff. I'm selling off that scrambler once it's kind of together. I got parts up there for the scramblers that I'm going to be selling. I got motors and transmissions and stuff all over the place in here that I'm going to be selling. Basically just trying to liquidate, you know, a lot of stuff that I just collected but don't foresee myself ever getting to, and just try to weed out the projects that you know, are just sitting in the back of my mind as stuff I need to do but not actually getting anywhere. I want to, you know, I want to work on this. I want to get the wheelies painted. I want to get it done. The scramblers I want to work on. I want to get this kind of parted out and onto the new stuff, and then I want to go play. I want to go, like I said, out on the trails. I want to go out on the beach. I want to go do things with these vehicles that, you know, I mess with all the time. Another part of kind of what went on was my buddy Will, Hard Earned Bacon on YouTube here. He, if you haven't seen or, you know, didn't come from his channel, he runs a YJ on 35s, and while he has built it, he's, you know, done work to the axles, he's done a lift obviously to fit the 35s. I think he's still running auto lockers front and rear. He's basically been beside me everywhere that I've taken this thing, and I'm like, well, I have this thing that needs all this work and I'm constantly working on, and yada yada yada, and he's got this, you know, YJ on leaf springs and 35s, and he's just bebopping right there beside me, and I'm like, I want something simple. I just, you know, is it going to be a little harder to get through the trail? Yeah. You know, this thing is so built at this point that it basically makes everything easy, which is kind of fun, but also just takes away a lot of the challenge and, in a sense, takes away some of the fun. So yeah, that's the plan with it all, guys. I'll try to make more videos. I'll try to keep, you know, putting stuff on YouTube. It's really not my thing. I'm trying to, you know, lean into it and get into it, but it's hard to get into these making videos and posting them type deals. But along with all these projects, I still have the Jeep Comanche outside. I've got a set of wheels right there that I need to swap some tires onto so I can put them on there. You know, there's lots of projects still going on around here, even though I'm getting rid of this one. It's basically like I'm getting rid of this project or stopping this project and taking on like 5 projects in its place. And it'll be the same amount of work. It was just like this was taking up all of my time, all of my energy, all of everything, all the time. And it was just stressing me out, honestly. So anyway, that's what's up. Like I said, I'll try to keep making videos, and I'll let you know how things progress.